good, YouTube? We got the most disturbing world of amusement park deaths, man. Like, comment, subscribe, man. Let's get to it. Long live all these people, man.
Some common fears that people hold in regulation, you would hope that number would dwindle to zero. It's a 168-foot tall water slide. The thing was so huge that you had to climb up 264 steps just to make it to the top.
Not doing that.
It was soon certified as being the world's tallest water slide in the Guinness World Records. The problem is, the slide was designed in part by the co-owners of the Schlitterbahn, Wayne Henry and John Schuley, neither of which had any technical skills relevant to either creating rides or making sure they were built in a safe way. The park's director of operations, Tyler Austin Miles, did what he could to help in building the slide as well. In this ride, park patrons would ride together in a multi-person raft. Given that each raft had to have a certain number of people to disperse the weight between them, many people would end up getting put into a raft with people they didn't know. One day in August of 2016, a man named Scott Schwab, who served as a member of the Kansas House of Representatives, heard some interesting news. On the 7th, the park would be holding what they called Elected Officials Day. On that day, people like Scott, along with their families, would get to go to the park for free, a good time and safely making his way down to the bottom of the slide. He walked over to the side of the ride and looked up so that he could see his brother coming down. Caleb was a bit nervous about going, but his father, Scott, told him, "Look at me, brothers stick together." Caleb responded with, "I know, Dad." That would be the last time that Scott would speak to his son ever again. Caleb entered into the front of the next raft. Behind him sat two sisters. Now they were all ready to take the plunge. As they took off down the slide, they started hitting speeds of about 70 miles per hour. One problem with this ride was that the rafts would often go airborne for a second, causing the riders to come slamming back down onto the slide. This time it would be much more intense than usual. About halfway down the slide, the raft went airborne once again, but this time the three of them went much higher than intended. Over that section of the slide was a net with arch-shaped metal bars holding it up. Caleb was launched upwards into the netting. One of the metal poles struck him directly in the neck, sending his head and his body flying in two different directions.
Oh, shit. What the fuck?
The two other women were injured as well, suffering multiple fractures to their faces. To his horror, Caleb's younger brother, Nathan, had seen the whole thing happen.
And then then his brother seen it? That's fucked up, I ain't gonna lie. Then he going like 70 miles per hour, gang. These are metal wires. Like, your body getting split in half, but your skin not like no metal.
Shit getting split. He took off running towards his mom, frantically screaming,
bro.
He flew from the Verrucht. One witness to the incident, a man named Esteban Castaneda, described how things looked after the accident. He said that at first he heard a few loud booms coming from the slide. Then he saw the raft come down. After, a body came with it. Not seeing a face, he thought that the person might have their head underwater and might need help. He rushed in to see what he could do, but a lifeguard stopped him. Without going into detail, the lifeguard said, "There is nothing you could do to help him." It was at this point that Esteban noticed that the body no longer had a head. Esteban already had a bad feeling that day. He had ridden the slide earlier in the day with his 14-year-old niece. That girl had said that the Velcro on her safety belt came off in the middle of the ride. Anything could have happened. Ambulances and the police were on the scene shortly after. The Schlitterbahn water park came to close down for the next 3 days. Even when it reopened, the Verrucht stayed closed for an investigation. At first, the investigators weren't exactly sure what had caused Caleb's death. It seemed to be nothing more than a freak accident at first, something nobody could have predicted. However, as they continued interviewing park staff and patrons, they came to hear the truth. In a later interview, one lifeguard stated, "I told my friends and family it was only a matter of time until someone died on the Verrucht. An examination of the slide guaranteed that rafts would occasionally go airborne in a manner that could severely injure or kill the occupants. It came to be clear."
And then I'm saying it's going airborne. That bitch going all the way up. And not only that, it's going all the way up, and you stuck in this fucking tent with metal wires and shit. Your ass is bound to die in that shit. I ain't gonna lie. Cause it ain't no telling how fast you going. Then you going airborne. Like, you can't control that shit,
Here
bro.
that the park's director of operations, Tyler Austin Miles, had covered up multiple different reports of injuries on the ride. At least 13 other people had suffered from injuries on the slide, most of them reporting facial injuries, concussions, swollen black eyes, and herniated discs from the intensity of it. Even though many people had expressed serious concerns about the ride's safety, Tyler decided to ignore them.
I ain't gonna lie though, there's no way in hell. I ain't gonna lie, I'm capping like a bitch. I'll probably ride this motherfucker once or twice, but like, just for the experience game. But like, I don't know. I probably wouldn't even, like, I have to see it in person, bro, because there's no way in hell I'm going hella high up. And then there's fucking metal wires that can cut my whole body in half. Like, what?
It wasn't long after that Jeff Henry, John Shuley, and the general contractor who worked on the slide, Henry & Sons Construction Company, were charged with second-degree murder. The scholarship aimed to, quote, help kids who are willing to work hard and dedicate themselves to the discipline of getting better at whatever someone with 5 years of experience in the industry. In the end, all of them got to walk free.
The fuck?
This case took place on March Florida from St. Louis with a friend. They all came to a
St. Louis? I actually think I heard about this story. I ain't gonna lie. He was downtown. I think he fell off this, I think I heard about this. I remember seeing dude. I heard about this, bro. If y'all don't know, I'm from St. Louis, bro. Moved to Texas 2020, bro, but...
Tyree Sampson and his family were visiting Florida from St. Louis with a friend. They all
they was visiting Florida from St. Louis. Okay.
Came to attend the Icon Park together. This was when Tyree decided.
Bro, I definitely seen him before. Not in St. Louis, nothing like. But I think it was a St. Louis player because I think he played football. I think they football player died for like some shit like that. But I seen this shit.
Decided that he wanted to ride the free fall. The free fall was one of those lift and drop type rides. The passengers would be raised about 400 feet into the air. The seats would tilt forward.
Cause like imagine this bitch just free fall all the way down. Imagine if it go all the way up and it don't stop. Bro, this whole ring is flying off this thing and you in the air finna fall all the way down. Then you stuck, so your legs is the first thing you hit smacking the ground. And you sitting down, gang, so your shit gonna fucking break.
At about 30 degrees, and then the ride would drop in a free fall that could reach 4 Gs. Then, when the ride was about 100 feet off the ground, it would hit the brakes. Tyree weighed 383 pounds at 14 years old.
I ain't gonna lie, 383 at 14 years old, you shouldn't even be able to hop on this ride.
This was
first of all, can your fucking seatbelt even close, gang?
Far above the 285-pound weight limit for one of the seats.
And then it's a 285 weight limit. So not only is he overweight for the ride, y'all let him ride this shit?
It was later found that the ride had been tampered with, most likely by staff. Someone had made some adjustments to the sensors on the seat that enabled the harness to restraint opening to be almost double the amount that it normally should have been able to open. This allowed the safety light to come on even when the conditions were anything but safe. Tyree hopped onto the ride. He was lifted all the way up into the air. It should
not even close.
Then he was dropped. When the ride started to put on its brakes, Tyree slipped from the restraints on his seat and was sent flying forward out of his chair and onto
he wasn't closed.
Everyone started to panic as other passengers on the ride demanded to be let out. Immediately, someone who appeared to be a supervisor started asking employees who had been securing the ride. As it turned out, the park attendants weren't ever instructed on the weight requirements or on how to properly place patrons into the seats. All they were told was that if the safety light was on, they were good to go. The attendant on that particular day had only been doing the job for 3 days.
Damn, bro. Bro, I know, like, the nigga that was working the shit been there for 3 days, gang. And I promise you, it's not his fault at all, bro. And, like, I low-key feel bad, gang, because, like, I know how he feel. He feel like he got that boy killed. He been working there for 3 days. He feel new. He feel like he just wasn't good enough. He got him killed. But whole time, your supervisor, your co-workers, all that shit. It's a weight limit they didn't tell him about probably. The security, they didn't, like, none of this shit. And then it's his 3rd day. Why is he doing all this shit by himself? Why is nobody that been here for a year, 2 years, why is they not doing this shit or at least standing next to him while he do it? Like, there's no way they got him on this fucking ride by himself. And like, if you starting off at doing rides and shit, you shouldn't start off on no Superman or no high ass ride. You should start off on baby shit and work your way up. Cause there's no one in hell like this shit. Like what?
Tyree didn't survive this fall.
Hell no, he looked like 75 feet up. And then again, he's like, his shit never was locked on. His shit was off the whole time. And then he going down fast, he slipped out that bitch and fell.
Autopsy said he had died from blunt force trauma. The Sampson family decided to sue the owner of the ride, the manufacturer, and the landlord of the park for failing to warn Tyree that his size could be a risk and for failing to provide working restraints. It wasn't too...
Because if they would have said something about his weight, bro, they said 330 something. The weight limit 280. He's at least 50 something, 50, 60 something pounds over the fucking weight limit. Why is he on the ride?
Long before the family came to reach...
Like 10 and 10 pounds over. Alright, I see. They still let him ride. Okay, cool, whatever. 30, 50, 60 pounds, gang, there's no way he riding that shit,
and Slingshot, the ride's operator. The amount they settled for is unknown. A few years later, they finally came to win in their lawsuit against Funtime, the Austrian manufacturer of the... The trial only lasted one day, given that nobody from Funtime actually appeared in court to defend themselves. It was decided that Funtime would pay a whopping $155 million to each of Tyree's parents. The family's lawyer said, "The jury's decision confirms what we have long argued. Tyree's death was the result of blatant negligence and a failure to prioritize safety."
I ain't gonna lie though, some of this shit though, bruh, as crazy as it might sound right now, I know for a fact that if somebody like Tyree died, gang, and it's like something away, or like away, like, you know, like away from for the family to sue the company for some money, bro, I feel like it's like they just do that shit for the money, bro. And like, what really happened to my son or my niece or my nephew, like that shit don't matter after that money hit. I ain't gonna lie. Like they got that, I'm not gonna say them, but motherfuckers get that money they sue for because the family member died. They go live their life. They don't give a fuck about that family member that passed. Gang. I ain't gonna lie. Like most times they sue be for the money because they know they can win that shit. Sometimes they don't even know, not sure if they can win. They be surprised as hell when they get that money. And that money changed their life forever. And the whole time it's like they don't even regret it. Like they low key, damn, I'm low key glad he passed. Shit, he was costing us money anyway. Now we got a whole lot of it. Like, you know, I ain't saying this his family, but I definitely know there's some families out here that they had the death in their family, that they sued for it, won that money, and they ain't get no fuck about that death for real. They
the
wanted
ride's
that money.
Manufacturers neglected their duty to protect
passengers. It's weird out here, bro. Like it's really weird out here, but like that's why I say, bro, like I stay to myself, but I don't like a lot of people around me. I don't like none of that shit. All that shit be fake. And
this outcome ensures that they face the consequences. It was decided that the ride would be taken down entirely. However, Tyree's mom said that it was a bit of a bittersweet feeling. She said, "The ride is coming down, and I'm thankful for that, but my son's not coming back."
Nah, that's facts. I ain't gonna lie.
The story. The park was 24 people in the standing position. On this peaceful Saturday afternoon, just before 1 p.m., 18 women and 4 men made their way onto the ride. One of the riders was a 19-year-old university student named Yoshino Kagawara. Another was her friend, 20-year-old Sayuri Furukawa, who stood behind her car. This sent the ride tilting to the left at about 90 degrees. Yoshino's head came to strike that very guardrail, and it was dragged and grinded against that rail for the next 275 meters, killing her. Her friend, Sayuri, who was behind her, suffered serious injuries herself. In addition, 18 of the other riders suffered some more minor injuries.
Bro, they said her head hit the... Bro, I'm not watching this. I'm not gonna lie. I can't, bro. I can't.
52-year-old mother...
I remember seeing this shit, too, bro.
Mother named...
Texas Giant. Bro, I done rode that bitch probably like 4 times.
Rosa Ayala Gaona Esparza. She had been attending...
But the Giant, that's the biggest ride at Six Flags in Texas, though, bro.
Six Flags with a couple of cars with the riders put into rows of 2. And moments later, the roller coaster took off. The train made its way up the first hill. That's when the other passengers on the ride noticed that Rosa's legs were up in the air. It seemed that she hadn't been fastened in properly. Her daughter turned around to see her mom's legs up in the air as she was nearly completely upside down in the seat. As the roller coaster made its way to the top of the hill, the other passengers were frantically trying to secure Rosa in her seat with the limited range of motion they had. By the time the
I'm saying they locked in, they can't do shit.
train began its steep descent, it was too late for them to help. Rosa was sent flying from her seat in the third row and fell forward about 75 feet before hitting a large metal beam. She was cut almost entirely in half. Her body fell onto the roof of the honky-tonk tunnel. The fall was so violent that pieces of her tissue were found in a 75-foot radius all around where she landed. It took the firefighters about an hour to actually find her body. When they did, they said that they found her partially wrapped around a support beam, saying that her lower body was lying on top of the roof while her upper body was hanging off of it. The operator had to be helped.
I can't watch this shit, gay. I ain't gonna lie, this shit gonna make me never ride a fucking... Hell no, man. Y'all last stay safe on them rides, gang. I might not ever do that shit again.